Dangerous driving is something we see on the roads every day, whether it's a minor thing like someone pulling out on you or an incident that causes a huge accident, even death. One moment of stupidity could completely change someone's life.
Well, the Labour MP, Peter Dowd, has been talking about the impact of dangerous driving, the impact it had on his family. His daughter was killed in a hit-and-run crash. The driver who hit her was only sentenced to 12 months in prison and banned from driving just for 18 months. So the question we're asking this afternoon, should there be stronger sentences for reckless drivers?
Let's find out what the current rules are by speaking to Nick Freeman, one of Britain's leading motoring and road traffic lawyers. Nick, good to see you again. That sentence that I've just read out, I can't quite believe it. That's for murder. Have we got our laws wrong?
I understand the public disquiet. I think it's important to bear in mind that in this particular case, it was a tragic case. There was a momentary lapse. It wasn't dangerous driving. It was actually driving without due care and attention with fatal consequences. And the defendant who didn't stop was also charged with failing to stop. And the maximum sentence for the worst type of driving without due care with fatal consequences, the worst type, is only 5 years. And many people who actually are involved in fatal accidents, when there is a momentary lapse, don't actually go to custody. And I'm quite confident that had this defendant stopped, as she clearly ought to have done, she probably would not have received a custodial sentence at all. It's also important to bear in mind that whatever sentence she receives, she will only, of course, do half. That is distinct from the offence of causing death by dangerous driving, which has at the moment a maximum sentence of 14 years. And they're two completely separate offences. But in my view, the sentencing powers are insufficient, and the government have been talking for some time now, particularly for the worst types of dangerous driving, of increasing that to a life sentence. And in my view, that is what should happen. But the sentence is never designed to reflect the value of a human life. It can never perform that situation. That's not the purpose of the sentence. And what we have here, it's a tragic case from everybody's perspective, particularly, of course, the deceased who was cycling. She was hit because she was wearing a high-vis jacket. The driver inexplicably didn't see her. A momentary lapse, it's described. It's almost the least serious type of driving without due care and attention. She might have been distracted for whatever reason. She should have seen it. She didn't see it. And then, of course, she didn't stop. And that compounded the seriousness of the offence quite significantly. And, of course, she was disqualified. It wasn't that long ago that you could actually be involved in a fatal accident and you would not even receive a custodial sentence. These are relatively new offences brought in over the last 10, 15 years. But in my view, for the worst types of cases, the worst types of dangerous driving cases, a life sentence is the appropriate sentence, and 14 years is insufficient.